Thunder growls across a blackened sky as torrential rain lashes down on a fortress unlike any other. Carved into the side of a jagged mountain and surrounded by nothing but dead rock and desolation, Black Ridge Penitentiary looks more like a military bunker than a prison. Floodlights slice through the darkness like searchlights at war. High-voltage fences hum with lethal energy. Watchtowers loom, their gun-mounted turrets swiveling mechanically, scanning the perimeter like predator eyes. Superimpose. Black Ridge Penitentiary, location, classified, cut to the interior, where freedom is a myth and cruelty is policy. Int, Black Ridge, hallway, night. A metal door slams open, echoing down a concrete corridor. Two guards drag a limp, half-conscious prisoner by the arms. His bare feet leave streaks of blood on the floor. Other inmates peek through narrow slots in their cell doors, eyes hollow, unblinking. No one dares speak. No one ever does. The guards throw the prisoner into solitary Block C, a long corridor of concrete coffins, and shut the door with a thunderous clang. Cut to INT control room. Inside, a row of monitors displays every cell, every hallway, every inch of the prison. A warden in a tailored uniform sips coffee, unmoved by what he sees. Guard, OS. Another one down, warden, warden. Then the system's working. He leans back, watching a feed, a man screaming into the void of solitary, unseen and unheard. Int. Cafeteria. Earlier that day. Noise and silence somehow coexist here. The clatter of trays, muffled coughs, shuffling feet, but no talking. Armed guards line the walls, rifles casually slung over their shoulders like shepherds watching over wolves. Every prisoner sits facing forward, hands visible. Cameras hang from the ceiling like vultures, waiting for the next act of violence. A fight breaks out. A man screams, a chair crashes. Within seconds, guards descend like a SWAT team, electroshocking the men until they twitch on the floor. No one flinches. They've all seen worse. Int. Showers. Earlier. The water is ice cold. Steam doesn't rise here, only bruises. A young prisoner slips on the wet concrete and cracks his head on the floor. Bleeds. No one helps him. The guards don't even look up. Int. Cell block D. Night. Each cell is barely the size of a closet. Rusted toilets, peeling paint, cracked cement floors. Graffiti covers the walls, desperate markings scratched in with fingernails or shivs. I was here. I am still me. Tell my mother I didn't quit. A man sits on the floor in the corner of his cell, arms wrapped around his knees, whispering to himself like a prayer. Next door, someone cries. Farther down, someone laughs, too loud, too long. This is not a place where time moves. It stagnates, like the air, heavy with sweat, mold, and forgotten hope. Axt, Black Ridge Yard, dusk. Outside, a concrete yard surrounded by razor wire. The sky burns orange behind the mountains. Inmates pace in tight loops, like animals trained to circle a cage. A man coughs up blood. No one reacts. Another quietly pulls a razor from his waistband, slices open his arm, and presses the wound against the wall. Red stains appear beside the hundreds that came before. This isn't rebellion. This is routine. Int. Interrogation chamber. Night floodlights blind a man seated in a steel chair, his wrists bound tight. His face is a mess of bruises. A lead interrogator, face in shadow, walks in with a syringe. Interrogator talk, or you'll wish you had. The prisoner grits his teeth, a tear slipping down his face, not from pain, but from the knowledge that this will happen again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Int. Black Ridge Chapel. Night. Ironically, the quietest place in the prison is the chapel, a decaying, windowless room with broken pews and a crooked crucifix. But no one prays here. An old prisoner sits alone, staring at the cross. Old prisoner whispers, even God doesn't come here anymore. Interior main cell block, night one prisoner stands out. A man in his 40s, gaunt but sharp-eyed, stands in the center of his cell. His name is Isaac Rahim, a former journalist turned political prisoner. His cell is filled with books, contraband scraps of paper with scribbled poetry, and burn marks on the walls, attempts to erase his voice. He looks up at the ceiling as rain batters the roof. He's not broken, but he's close. His fists are clenched, his breathing controlled. Voiceover begins. Isaac, V.O. They say a man can survive anything if he has something to hold on to. But what happens when everything's been taken? He walks to the corner of the cell, pulls a small piece of mirror from under his mat. He stares at his reflection, cuts under his eyes, a burn on his neck, a soul on the edge. Isaac, V.O., when silence becomes your language and fire your only truth. He closes his eyes. The rain continues outside, drumming against the tin roof like war drums, but inside, time stands still. Isaac Rahim, now in his 7th year inside Blackridge, sits motionless on his cot, staring at the wall. That wall, his only companion, bears smudged lines carved with fingernails, bits of broken metal, even dried blood. Tally marks once kept count of days. Now they're just marks, meaningless. Flashback, NT courtroom, day 7 years ago. A younger, clean-shaven Isaac stands in a courtroom, defiant, surrounded by armed guards. He's being sentenced for exposing government atrocities through his journalism. Judge, O.S., traitor, enemy of the state, 20 years. As the gavel slams, the camera flashes from reporters fade. The world moves on. Int. Isaac's cell. Night, present. A low, rhythmic banging echoes from down the hallway. A prisoner 2 cells down is hitting his head against the wall. Again and again and again. Isaac doesn't even flinch. He's heard worse. He lies back, staring at the ceiling, mouthing words silently. Isaac, V.O. When they take your voice, your body learns to whisper through memory. My wife's smile, my son's first steps, the smell of paper and ink, before they burned my press to the ground. He closes his eyes, trying to hold on to the images, but they fade too fast now. Int, Blackridge, Medical Bay, day, flashback. Isaac is strapped to a steel bed, electrodes on his temples, a mask over his mouth. A white-coated prison doctor calmly adjusts the voltage. Guard to the doctor. He hasn't said a word in weeks. Doctor, he will. The switch flips. Isaac convulses. Int, Isaac's cell. Night, present. He jolts awake from the memory, gasping. Sweat clings to his face. He shuffles to the back wall, kneels, and pries up a loose stone. Inside, a small notebook, the pages yellowed and tattered. He flips through it. Quotes, names, memories, drawings of his wife, his son, a poem half finished. Even fire must sleep. A sudden clang of iron bars. A new inmate is dragged into the next cell, young, bloody, barely able to walk. Isaac doesn't speak. He watches, observes. The kid coughs. New inmate, whispering, "You're him, Isaac Rahim, the journalist." Isaac doesn't answer. New inmate, "They said you were dead." Silence. New inmate, "You're the reason I came here. I read your words. They changed me." Isaac slowly turns to the wall. He presses his palm against it. Something stirs behind his hollow eyes. For a brief second, a flicker of something. Not hope, but memory of it. Intake cafeteria. Day, weeks later. Isaac walks slower now, thinner, his eyes sunken, but there's a calm to his movements. He no longer reacts to the shouts, the beatings, the sudden crack of batons. The new inmate from the adjacent cell is missing. Isaac looks around. No one says anything. Isaac, V.O. They disappear now, quietly, one by one, the ones with light still in their eyes. Int, solitary, night darkness, total. Sound becomes the only companion. Isaac, V.O. Solitary is not a cell. It's a place inside you. They drag you there, and then you stay. Int, Isaac's cell. Later, Isaac now sits cross-legged on the floor. He hasn't eaten in 2 days. The notebook lies in front of him. He stares at it, trembling. Then, carefully, he tears out a page, lights a match stolen during kitchen duty, watches the flame dance on the paper before letting it fall onto the concrete. He watches it burn. Just a single page. Isaac, VO. Words can live forever. But even forever ends in a place like this. Inti, Blackridge, showers. Night. Isaac walks alone, under freezing water. Steam doesn't rise. A fresh bruise across his shoulder, a cut on his cheek. He reaches down into the drain, pulls out a hidden plastic lighter, rusted and nearly dead. He stares at it for a long, long moment. Inti. Isaac's cell. Late night. He sits again in silence, but this time he's doing something. Carefully rubbing together scraps of cloth and stolen oil from the kitchen. He wraps it all in his prison shirt. His breathing is steady now, deliberate. The wall in front of him still bears his tally marks. But tonight, he adds one more. The last. He holds the lighter in his hand. Isaac, VO. They took everything. But I still have this choice. And if fire is the only way they'll hear me, then let it speak loud. It's dead quiet. The air hangs heavy. Even the usual clang of distant cell doors seems muted tonight. Isaac Rahim sits upright in his cell, his face lit faintly by the moonlight seeping through the barred window. On the floor beside him, the bundle of cloth soaked in stolen cooking oil, wound tightly and shaped like a vest. His notebook lies open one last time, pages torn out, words smeared, but one phrase still clear, scrawled over and over: "Remember me, remember us." Isaac takes a long, final breath. He slips the cloth vest over his prison uniform. No fear, only purpose. Flashback. Int. Isaac's house. Morning, years ago. Sunlight floods the living room. His wife laughs as their young son chases a wooden toy car across the rug. Isaac sits at the table, editing an article. Wife, laughing, "You're going to bring the world down with that pen of yours. ISAC number. I'm going to show it a mirror." Int. Blackridge, hallway. Moments later, guards move down the corridor for a routine check. One pauses outside Isaac's cell. Through the slot, the guard sees Isaac sitting still, cross-legged, eyes closed, at peace. "Guard Rahim, you alive?" No response. The guard bangs on the door. "Guard, Kant," I said. Boom! A deafening whoosh of flame erupts behind the steel door. The cell explodes with fire, orange light spilling through the cracks. The screaming begins. Inmates from all over the block pound on their doors, yelling in confusion and horror. The smoke hits fast, thick, black, choking. Int. Control room. Seconds later, alarms blare. Red lights flash. "Officer, we've got combustion in cell D14. The warden stares at the monitor. On screen, a wall of fire inside Isaac's cell. A silhouette remains visible for a brief moment. Isaac standing, arms outstretched, like a crucifix of flame. Warden, "Get it out, now, but it's already too late." Inti yard, night. From the prison yard, flames can be seen licking through the upper windows of the cell block. Prisoners, escorted back to their cells earlier, press their faces to the bars in silence. No one cheers, no one speaks, but every man watching knows exactly what Isaac has done. Inti, Blackridge. Infirmary. Later. Isaac's body lies burned beyond recognition, but his face, what little remains, bears a strange calm. He didn't scream. He didn't run. A doctor shakes his head. "Doctor." He set himself on fire, voluntarily. Jesus. A young intern looks at the body, shaken, but then his eyes shift to a charred scrap of paper clenched in Isaac's fist, almost miraculously preserved. He pulls it free and reads aloud. Intern, softly. "If they silence me, let my flame speak for us all." Int. Newsroom. Days later. Footage leaks. A hidden phone, smuggled by an inmate, captured the last few seconds. Isaac engulfed in fire. The video is blurry, shaky, but the world sees it. Within hours, it's all over the internet. News anchor, VO, a political prisoner has self-immolated inside Blackridge Penitentiary, one of the world's most secretive and brutal institutions. Montage, global reaction, vigils outside embassies in New York, London, Istanbul, and Nairobi. Protesters light candles in a circle around a burning effigy of a prison tower. Hashtags trend, hashtag Fire for Justice, hashtag Isaac Rahim, hashtag Burning Point. Human rights groups demand international investigations. University students march with signs bearing Isaac's last words. Let my flames speak. Int United Nations, press conference. A journalist stands, microphone shaking in hand. Journalist. Why did it take a man setting himself on fire for us to look inside Blackridge? Silence. A human rights delegate wipes tears from her eyes. Delegate. Because some truths are too bright to ignore. Int. Blackridge. 1 month later. Cameras now flood the prison. Inspectors walk down the same halls where Isaac was tortured. Cells are being emptied. Guards are on trial. The warden is nowhere to be found. A new plaque is mounted on the wall of cell D14. In memory of Isaac Rahim, he burned for the truth we buried. Int. Bookstore. Later a child walks through the store, past a stack of books with Isaac's face on the cover. The title, Burning Point, the words they couldn't kill. He picks it up, flips to the first page. Isaac, VO. They thought pain would end me. They thought silence would erase me, but they forgot. Even in ashes, the soul can rise. EXT, City Street, night. A mural now stands 6 stories tall on the side of a building. Isaac, painted in shades of red and orange, his arms out, flames behind him, eyes closed. A phoenix rises from his chest. People gather below it. Some pray, some chant. A little boy lights a candle and places it at the base of the wall. Boy, softly, thank you. Fade to black. Text on screen. Inspired by true events. Over 70% of political prisoners globally remain in facilities hidden from public over.